righty. From the high-priced guys to someone who will help you save some dough. Matt, who is your favorite value play on this slate?
I really don't want to pick Rajon Rondo, so I'm just going to go somewhere else. I just don't.
Well, is he on a national game? Is it a nationally televised game? He's a different guy on that
like
stage.
Habs,
Okay. Yeah, then
Habs Pistons. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
think
I would fade him. I'd fade him.
Yeah, let's fade him. So I'll pick somebody else. I'll go with another veteran, though, in James Johnson. Johnson didn't start the last time the Nets played the Celtics, actually, but he came off the bench and was basically the Nets' best player in that game. He was the primary ball handler off the bench. And my hunch is that the Nets saw how that worked, and either one will go back to that again, just the same setup where they let Johnson be the second unit guy, or two, they just move him into the starting lineup for this game and go off that strong production that he's had and just try to get him out there, and maybe they can get a different outcome against Boston early in the game, because the Nets were down 26 points before Johnson even stepped on the court, which is just a whole other thing. Just an insane game that one was. So if the Nets are going to have a different level of success here, maybe they decide that it's going to be because Johnson plays more. But this is still a very shorthanded team. He's only $3,500, so you don't really need a lot here to sell him. A lot of these Nets guys will look like pretty good values, especially the cheaper ones. So I think James Johnson's a good call, but there are a bunch of players on this slate in the 3 to 4K range that are worth considering. So I just think he might be a little more under the radar than someone like Rondo or Trendon Watford on the Blazers or a couple other guys.
All right, Nick, who are you considering then? Because Matt says there's a bunch of guys in that 3 to 4K range.
There sure are. The Nets kind of scare me a little bit just because, so many guys have been banged up and injured, over the last few weeks that I feel like we don't still have a great grasp on who's actually in the rotation night to night. So I think that's a stay away for me. Maybe I'll get burned there, but I'm happy to go with Rondo. I know it's not national TV. I know it's Cleveland-Detroit, like one of the most historically unappealing matchups of the last 15 years, but you're getting Rondo at $3,900. He has two 40-plus DraftKings points games in the Cavs' handful of games before the break when Darius Garland was missing time with that lower back. Now we have no Garland and no LeVert. So Rondo's viable. I think Jetty Osman at $4,000, also very much viable. And then I'm also turning my attention to the Portland Trailblazers, who in the first segment, Garion noted I don't know what Yusuf Nurkic was doing over the All-Star break where he apparently tore plantar fascia in his foot. I think that is a completely illegitimate injury. They really have no depth at center. They don't have another true center on the roster right now. I think at some point they'll either bring in a 10-day or call someone up from the G League just for depth purposes. But for the time being, Trendon Watford is going to play. Basically, he's going to play until he fouls out, I think, tonight. And he's at $3,400. You could even try Greg Brown at $3,200, and guys like Justice Winslow, Josh Hart, the salaries are a little higher, but I think they're still great values.
Garion, where do you sit here on a value play, dude?
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting slate because there are so many value opportunities opened up because of injury, because of guys not playing, that I think, for as strange as it is to say that someone might go under the radar in the game that has by far the highest total of the slate, you look at Minnesota and there's no glaring injury issue that would lead you to think someone's going to get expanded minutes or someone's going to have a huge role that they normally wouldn't have. But Jaden McDaniels' price point is still just very strange to me. He's $3,600. When you go back to January 27th, Jaden McDaniels is playing the fourth most minutes per game of any member of the Timberwolves, trailing the exact three guys you think he would be trailing. He's actually played more than 30 minutes in 4 of his past 5 games. Even though he's been sort of jumping back and forth between the starting lineup, going back to the bench, being the sixth man, it doesn't really affect his role at the end of the day. He still plays between 23 to 30 minutes seemingly every single night for the Timberwolves. And in what could be a very up-tempo, very high-scoring matchup against the Memphis Grizzlies, I just think you're looking at like a 6x, 7x floor with someone like McDaniels.